Hello, and welcome to the Casual Decks. Today's video is sponsored by the subscribe button, and for an unlimited time only, if you click now you can gain special access to the notifications to stay alerted for future videos by clicking the bell with no purchase necessary. Hello everybody, this is the Casual Decks. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than usual. We're just going to go into the 10 cards that I would be putting into Araumi of the Dead Tide. Now Araumi is a 1/4 Merfolk Wizard for 1 Endemir colors, and we tap and exile cards from our graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Encore until end of turn, and the Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. What this means is we're going to exile a creature card from our graveyard, we're going to pay its mana cost, and we're going to create optimally 3 copies of that creature, and it's going to be attacking our opponents, and so we're going to be using this as a bit of a self-mill reanimator style deck. So we've got a lot of creatures that are going to have some pretty nasty enter the battlefield triggers, as well as death triggers or even attack triggers. So let's get right into it. Starting off this list, we're going to have Archaeomancer, 2 and double blue for a 1/2 human wizard that reads when Archaeomancer enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. If we're targeting this with our commander, we're going to get 3 copies of it entering the battlefield. We're going to get 3 instants or sorceries back into our hand. That's just going to give us our draw spells back. It's going to give us our sacrifice spells. Any of our counter magic is just all around a good card. Next up here, we're going to have Broodbirth Viper. We've got 4 and blue for a 3/3 snake with whenever Broodbirth Viper deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. The thing that makes this card crazy is its Myriad ability that reads whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may put a token that's a copy of this creature onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker he or she controls, and then exile the token at the next end step. What this means is once Broodbirth Viper enters the battlefield, we're going to have 3 copies, optimally of course, that enter the battlefield. That's going to create 2 more copies for each token. This is going to end up with us having 9 copies total of Broodbirth Viper if we've targeted this and have 3 opponents still. If all of them end up coming through, that's going to end up with 9 cards being triggered to draw for us, or we're just going to end up throwing a ton of damage to our opponent's faces. Next up, we have Carrion Feeder, 1/1 zombie for 1 black. It can't block, but we could sacrifice a creature and put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder. With all of the creatures that we're going to be bringing back with our commander, we're going to end up sacrificing them anyway, so we might as well have something up where we can sacrifice them to it and at least get some kind of advantage from it. Next up, we have Chronic Flooding, 1/2 enchantment aura, so it's not a target for our commander, but it's an enchant land, and whenever the land becomes tapped, its controller puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into their graveyard. This is just going to keep our graveyard filled and all around just help keep the ball rolling for us. Next up, we have Diluvian Primordial for 5 and double blue for a 5/5 avatar with flying, which is pretty hefty here. It reads when Diluvian Primordial enters the battlefield for each opponent, you may cast up to 1 instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If a card cast this way would be put into a graveyard this turn, we exile it instead. So we target this, we have 3 opponents as the previous example. We're going to get 9 instants or sorceries that we can cast for free from our opponent's graveyards. We're literally weaponizing their own tools against them. This is a great card for this deck. Next up, we have Discontinuity. For 3 and triple blue, we get to just end the turn. It exiles all spells and abilities from the stack, including this card, just outright ends the turn. So all of our sacrifice at the end of turn, exile at the end of combat, or really if we want to end an opponent's turn, we just can. But optimally, its second ability here, it's as long as it's our turn, the spell costs 2 and 2 blue less to cast. So if it's our turn and we want to keep all of those Broodbirth tokens that we just created in play, we just cast this for 1 and a blue, end our turn, and we keep all of those tokens. Next up, we have Doomed Necromancer, 2 and a black for a 2/2 human cleric mercenary. Do keep in mind that Araumi's ability does give our creatures haste, so this is also a decent target, but for 1 black and sacrifice Doomed Necromancer is tap it, we get to return target creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield. Great for reanimation and recursion, keeps things in play for us. Grave Titan is a 6/6 giant for 4 and double black with Death Touch, and whenever Grave Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, you put 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. What this is going to end up meaning is when it enters the battlefield, we're going to end up creating 6 2/2 black zombie creature tokens because of the 3 copies of Grave Titan. When it attacks for each of those, we're going to end up creating an additional set of 6 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So we're going to be creating a total of 12 2/2s that we're just going to leave behind after Grave Titan's even gone. This is disgusting. The next one, speaking of disgusting, is probably one of the meanest ones. We've got Grey Merchant of Asphodel, 2/4 zombie for 3 and double black that reads, when Grey Merchant of Asphodel enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. So just between Grey Merchant and Araumi, we're going to end up dealing 9 damage, and we're going to heal for 27. The only requirement for us to do that is for us to have 3 opponents still. And then the last card that we have in the deck is going to be Priest of the Bloodright. For 3 and double black, we get a 2/2 human cleric that when it enters the battlefield, we actually put a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we lose 2 life. If we've targeted this with our commander and we have our 3 opponents, as with all of the other examples in this video, we're going to be creating 3 5/5 black demon creature tokens with flying for the cost of 5 mana. We're going to end up sacrificing Priest of the Bloodright anyway, so its second ability triggering on our upkeep to cost us to lose life isn't even going to matter. So collectively, it's just an all-around good card. And that's going to wrap it up here. That's the 10 cards here that I would be putting in with Araumi of the Dead Tide. If you do like these kinds of videos, please let me know down in the comments or by liking the video. I'll keep making these videos as long as they keep getting a response from you guys here. But I wanted to be able to find a way to be able to continue to make more videos a lot more frequently and to be able to just overall cover as many commanders as possible, especially now that we're getting a lot of commanders dumped onto us after the Commander Legends release recently. But if you do feel that you need more of me and you're not getting enough on the channel, I do have a Discord. You'll be able to find a link down below to everything decks. If you would like, give any of those links a check out. We do also have a Patreon in there as well if you do feel like going the extra mile to support me and what I'm doing here. But all around, I'll see you guys in the next video. I appreciate you watching, and remember, keep it casual.